with update on Max Johnson. We're all obviously devastated, and what a tough thing for him. Is a tremendous young man and great family, and playing really, really good in the third quarter after a slow start, and everything's looking great. And then when we went out there, the doctors kept looking at his knee, and he said, "It's not my knee," and that's why he thought it was the hip, and he just actually broke his leg. And nobody knew it, and he couldn't walk when he tried to walk off, being tough. And the Minnesota medical staff worked really well with our medical staff to make sure that he was safe. PJ Fleck came out on the field and asked me about him. PJ called on Friday morning and said, "Can I get Mom and Dad's number? I'd like to check and go over there and make sure that anything we can do to help." So he was totally class in trying to help. And there's another procedure today. He's doing fine, but he's still there. May be back in a week. It may be 2 weeks. We left one of the assistant trainers up there with him. As soon as possible, we need to get him back and get him back involved in our program, and get him to help coach our quarterbacks. And even up there, when he starts feeling better, we're going to try to get him to Zoom into team meetings and Zoom into the quarterback meetings and the offensive meetings, just to make sure that he feels all the love from us and the kids. And we gave him the game ball, and they all wanted him to Zoom in yesterday, but he was having some checkup with a doctor at the time, so he couldn't do it. So he has 2 years left to play, because he'll get a medical red shirt this year if he wants to. I'm sure it's too early for him to think about all those things that might happen, but he's obviously missing some school here, so he'll have to look at what he needs to do academically. When we get him back here, they feel like he'll have a full recovery. Just not sure when or how or what. So love the young guy. Appreciate all the hard work he put in to get ready to play, and we dominated the third quarter a lot because of his play. So we're very, very sad for him, but we've obviously got a lot of young people that have been hurt in the past. And what you do, it's you can't control what happens in your life. We can control how we respond to it. So all of us will be, and I ask all North Carolina fans, our fans are great. They were great with everybody that's had something happen with our kids, and I ask for all of our fans to pray for him and pick him up, and we'll get him back and try to get him on that sideline as soon as we can. So.
Did he get hit with his leg just snapped?
I don't know. You watch it, and he got hit, but I don't know what all that means. So.
Clarify, PJ did visit him, or said he was going to?
I haven't followed up with PJ, but PJ called me and said, "Can I get the number? I'd love to go visit the young man and the family." And PJ's been a friend. I'm not surprised at all with the class he handled it. And this is just right after a very difficult loss the next morning. And it was like 10 or 11 o'clock the next morning when he called to say, "Can I go over there? And can I see it?" And I said, "Yes." And I've been in touch with Brad 2 or 3 different times, and I talked to Jake yesterday, and it's a we all go through tough things. This is a very tough thing for Max and that family.
Mike, you said he's going to have another procedure today. How many operations has he had?
I think I'll let Luke get into all that. I don't want us to get into medical stuff because I may not be accurate. I think some to relieve some pressure or something. It's good. Everything's good. So it may take a little bit longer to get back home than he thought. And we have to look at that with school too. So that's it. But if there's everything's good, it's going to be a full recovery. It's just taking a little bit longer, I think, than they thought. But I'm not a doctor. I don't get into all that stuff. If I start it, I'll say something wrong.
Right. Why is it taking longer?
I don't know. I think that again would be Luke. So I don't know. I probably qualify for being a doctor after 8 knee operations and 2 of them knee replacements, but I don't think I should be commenting on.
I didn't know if anybody told you. Okay.
No.
One more clarification, if you don't mind. You said someone stayed up there with him. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
Yeah, we have an assistant trainer that we left
They're staying there.
and just stayed with him to take care of him and give him anything they want. We're checking with the family, all of us probably too much. We're probably wearing them out, very honestly, but this place takes care of their people. And I really, really appreciate that. But I think because I know sometimes what I say is not what we hear. He will have a full recovery. He's doing well. Emotionally, obviously, this is devastating for him and everybody else. We expect him to be back within a week or two. And he can play again. And he has 2 years left to play if he decides he wants to. So I think the important thing is he's safe. He can play again, and he has 2 years. He will not play the rest of this year. The other thing is it's a little bit delayed. He will not get home as fast as they thought. And he's been taken care of by the Minnesota people. They've really been classy. And we left some people there to make sure that anything he needs, he's got.
Everything is done there in Minnesota, the hospital?
Everything. Everything's done there. And it was the next morning. So, okay, everybody got it? And we'll get him back as soon as we can. And I don't know what that means with crutches or a scooter, but we'll want him. I do know that when somebody gets hurt and they lose something that they want, they need to get back involved with their teammates and their family. So we need him back here involved as soon as we can so he can coach. And he can help start coaching those young quarterbacks, and he can help Connor and Jacoby, but we need him involved. And we will let him do everything that he can possibly do. He'll travel if he can travel. So whatever he can physically do and he wants to do, he will be able to do. And, DeAndre Boykins went through the same thing last year. So we've got some guys on our team that have been through this, that Kobe Paysour had life changed for him twice last year. So there's a lot of things that happen to young people that are very, very difficult and take away things that are important to them. And you need other people who have had the same thing happen. I had it happen to me. So as a player, so I understand how difficult it is, and all of us have to pick him up and move forward. Okay? When you start looking at opening games, it's crazy. Some of the scores happens every year. It's the upsets and the scores, and they're just absolutely shocking, some things that happen in opening day. Ours was different because there were 2 new defensive coordinators and 2 new quarterbacks. And weirdly enough, both quarterbacks named Max. So it was a unique setting for both of us. I'm proud of our team that we gave 100%. I'm proud of our team that we played really, really tough and confident. And I'm proud of our team that we found a way to win. I'm not sure that teams we've had here could have won that game in many cases. They won it with toughness. We were in trouble at halftime. They took the momentum. They scored twice. They scored right before the half, which is devastating to the game. They were leading at halftime, which is really tough for us. They had nearly 10 minutes on us of time of possession. We didn't have 100 yards offense. And those kids picked themselves up and came back and fought. And then in the third quarter, they had the ball 4 plays. So we dominated the third quarter. They ran for 15 yards the second half. So there were so many great things that we came back out and did. We were able to have more personality on offense and start moving the ball. Like I said, Max was playing really, really good when he got hurt. So it looked like what we expected it to look like, and we were headed in the right direction. We've been really good here in opening games. It's interesting with the half full and the negative people and reporters and media that are out there. I see after the game a slide that said this is the first away game they've won since '92 in an opener. I thought that's interesting. As a head coach at North Carolina, I'm 13-3 in openers. That's pretty good. And then we're 5-1 in openers since I've been back. And we've played South Carolina twice at a neutral site. We played Syracuse here. We played Minnesota away. We beat Florida A&M here, and we lost the game after COVID to Virginia Tech up there where we didn't coach very well and we didn't play very well. So we're 5-1, 13-3. The 3 losses have been Oklahoma, my first game back, which we were probably a little bit of an underdog. And then we lost to Syracuse when Donovan McNabb was a freshman, 20-9 here. And then we lost to Virginia Tech. Those are the 3 openers that we've lost. So we've done a great job of starting seasons. And the headline we got is first win on the road since '92. So this is probably a little more positive than that for those that are looking for positive headlines. And other than that, we haven't been as good with other teams that have in opening games. So I like the way we've started. The Big Ten was 17-1 this weekend, and we were the 1 win against the Big Ten. There were 2 ACC teams that beat Power 4 teams in the opener. That was us in Miami. So a lot of great things came out of this weekend for the Tar Heels moving forward, and I'm really, really excited about it.
Mac, you said that since '92, you beat Southern Cal in '93 over there. So
They say it an away game. They don't count. They count those as a neutral site, Art. So we don't count those.
where was that game?
That was Anaheim. Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool to beat USC and out in LA or Anaheim, but we don't count that as John Robinson's first game back. Yeah, a lot of positives here that we can talk about as we're going through. Glad the guys went on the road, which is hard to do. Glad they handled the weather delay. That's tough. We're all sitting there, and we had our pregame meal at 3:15. At 3:13, we were called and said the game's going to be delayed an hour. So all the kids are down there. They're all getting ready to eat. We had to hold the food, send the kids back to the rooms for an hour, and then bring them back down at 4:15 and eat the pregame meal and start over. And all we did say, hey, we got sudden change. They just called us and said they're delaying the game for an hour. I said it may be delayed 2 hours, it may be delayed 4 hours. We can't tell with lightning delays. So just get yourself ready to play when it's kicked off. And I love what Jeff Collins said. He said, put the ball down, let's play. It doesn't matter. We'll do it in the parking lot. We'll do it at 7. We'll do it at 9. Let's don't get into all the excuses. So, but the guys handled all of that really, really well. Minnesota's lines of scrimmage are really good. They're older. They're very good. They'll be among the best we'll play this year. They're older. They're physical. They run the ball. They keep the ball. That's what they were doing the first half. They put us in a very difficult spot because we couldn't get the ball back. And that's who they are as they get into it. Offensively, we had 64 plays in the game. We've had 99 around here at times. But defensively, we only played 55 plays. So when you're talking about playing too deep, guys were playing 25 snaps and fresh. And that's complementary football. So that's what we were doing. With the loss of Max, Connor is a great example of next man up, man. You never know when you're going to be asked to play. So you better be prepared because you may be, hey, Connor, get in. Late third quarter. And then you got to be ready to go. I'm trying to help Max, and I'm looking for Connor, and Connor's over there loosening up. And getting his mindset ready to go. So you got to be ready to go at all times. And now Connor will be our starting quarterback, and Jacoby, who missed spring and was behind, will have to catch up now. So he'll be right in the mix, and he needs to get ready to play this weekend. I mean, you're one play away from him playing. So that's just the way this game is, and it's kind of a great scenario of what life is. Things can happen so quick that change our lives, and we've got to respond to them. Like we said, we can't determine what happens. We can determine how we respond to them. So we're going to respond in a very positive way. Omarion remains very special. He's one of the best players in the country, obviously. Very impressed with the offensive line. Only one of those guys that ever started a game, and they were very physical. We didn't have a penalty in the offensive line, which I was concerned about. We'd had some in spring and preseason. So it was amazing. And those guys blocked the Minnesota line. They were physical and did pretty well in pass protection. We still had 2 sacks, but we've got worked through that, but we forced 5 sacks and had 2 sacks. And that's something that we will continue to work on. We only had 6 explosive plays. That was our negative on offense. That's not enough, not near enough. So we've got to do a better job in our passing game, and we've got to get the ball downfield more. And those things were things that we didn't do. When you start talking about, there'll be some people that say we were too conservative. Your job is to win the game. And Omarion was our best player, and we were running the ball well, and our defense was playing well. So what we did was we did what we needed to do to win the game. Somebody might not say it's pretty. Nobody gives you stars for pretty. It's either a W or a loss. And I'm really, really proud that our staff did what they needed to do to win the game. And we'll start over. We've had hard discussions since Thursday about who we need to be now offensively, what's our personality going to be, what's our identity going to be. And we are a team that's going to run the ball and stop the run. This is the toughest team we've had. We said, it was funny, Jeremy said some of you were laughing at me when we left the press conference the other day when I said we'd hit more and been more physical, and you said, he's not telling the truth. I don't know why we do this if y'all think I lied to you. So we did hit more, and we were more physical, and it showed up in the game, and I'm really, really proud of it. So for you that were questioning, I don't lie. I may not tell you something, but I'm not going to tell you a lie when we're in here. Defensively, really impressed with how hard they played. We had much better gap control than I've seen since we've been here. We stopped the run. I think they had 78 yards rushing. Last year, one back had 130, I think, 138. When we're looking at it, there were five 3 and outs out of 10 possessions, which is nearly unheard of. They only had the ball 4 plays in the third quarter, as we said, and we had to flip the game in the third quarter. I said we gave up 15 yards rushing in the second half. There's a crucial turnover. It's funny that quarterbacks are most likely to turn it over because you don't hit them in spring or fall. The 3 quarterbacks all fumble the ball in the game. I mean, that's just so quarterbacks. We've got to do more fumble drills with our quarterbacks. We got to hit them more in drills because they've got to take care of the ball. But Connor fumbled, Max fumbled, and their quarterback fumbled. But with a club, Amari Campbell knocked the ball loose, and Travis Shaw jumped on it, which changed the game. It was a huge play in the game. Here's a sophomore, just turning 19 years old, only his birthday, with a club, knocks a ball out of a quarterback's hand to change a game. I am so proud of him and what he stands for. The explosive plays they had 8 to our 6. They had 7, I think. 7 to our 6. Their 7 were because we missed tackles. So we've got to continue to tackle better. Our safeties missed, I think, 4 tackles. Our linebackers missed a tackle. Linebacker misses a tackle on 3rd and 19, which you can't do. You've got to keep them in front of you and make the play. And we've got to force more turnovers. We only had the 1 turnover. There were a couple other balls on the ground that we could have gotten, and we didn't get them. Really proud of the discipline of this team, only 3 penalties. I mean, that's something that last year in this game we did a good job, but we had 5. And they had 6, I think, so that was a difference for us in the ball game. They had some penalties that got us the ball back or gave us first downs. And we can still do better. But I love the discipline of this team. And like I said, I love the fact that they found a way to win. That's all this is about. All it's about is finding a way to win. And if you don't, it's about winning and losing. It's not about points. It's not about playing well. So that's something I'm really proud of. Probably the best special teams performance we've had since we've been here. I'm really proud of those groups. Noah Burnett hit 4 of 4. And they were all right down the middle and long. Second longest to the 54-yarder we had against Florida State, I think, to win a game a few years ago at 52 yards on one of his field goals, but he never even flinched. And you've got to give a lot of credit to the kids for operation. Everybody talks about the snapper till it's a bad snap. Nobody talks about the holder. Nobody talks about the front line with a great protection. So I made them stand up yesterday in the team meeting, gave them a standing ovation. Punter averaged 51 yards a punt. One of them was down at the tube. We had a 20-yard return. And Ty Adams and Christian Hamilton did a great job holding up their gunners to free Elijah Huzzy. He can be really good in punt return. That is a factor for us that can really help win the Pittsburgh game last year with a long return and a punt return for a touchdown. So we're in the middle of that. Liam Boyd kicked 3 of the 4 out of the end zone for kickoffs. The one that was short, Malcolm Ziegler, true freshman, so proud of him, ran down, and it was only a 14-yard return, and he got him at the 25-yard line. And we're 1 block away from Nate McCullum having a kickoff return for a touchdown. I mean, that one's so close, the one return that we have. So we talk about dominating and changing games with the kicking game. That's what we did Saturday, Thursday, and we have a chance to do that each week now. So we've got to continue to work hard to get better. Players of the game, the offensive player of the game was Omarion Hampton, 30 carries, 129 yards, 5 catches for 17 yards. 92 of his 129 yards were after contact, and he missed 12. He forced 12 missed tackles. The other thing that he did that went unnoticed is on the interception that was run back to the 5-yard line, he chased him down and kept him out of the end zone. The other thing he did is when Connor fumbled, and if we don't get on that ball, we probably lose the game, is he's the last one into the pile, and he comes out with the ball. So you're talking about a gamer. You're talking about one bad guy now, a tough guy that wins football games and never speaks. That's Omarion Hampton. He had the same expression walking off the field with the ball out of the fumble out of the pile as he would have if he'd fumbled. He didn't show any emotion with what he's got, but I love that kid. But we need to get him more free yards. We got to get him on more flares and screens, and we got to get him in space more. Javari Ritzie, 5 tackles, 3 sacks, was the defensive player of the game. It's the first time a player had 3 sacks in a game since Tamon Fox against Miami in 2019. And he's tied for 3rd all time in a single game sacks and tackles for loss for a Tar Heel. So great game by Javari Ritzie. He's healthy. I thought it was very impressive to see him run their quarterback down on our boundary. Very, very proud of him and proud for him. And then Noah Burnett and Elijah Huzzy were both our special teams players of the game. Noah had the 4-for-4 field goals, 29, 42, 45, and 52. I think he was 18 out of 19 last year, so he is a valuable asset for us. 52-yarder was the longest field goal since Nick Weiler's 54-yarder against Florida State. And Huzzy had a punt return for 20 yards and then down the ball at the 2 and had a couple other tackles on punt. So he did a great job. The fans are enjoying the helmet stickers. The players did too. We put up all the stickers yesterday that the guys gained on the board so they could all see it. And left it up there. They were all, oh, look at this, look at that. I do think Omarion could have a full helmet here pretty soon. So his looks good. As far as Charlotte's concerned, Coach Pogge's done a great job where he's been. He was a head coach at a private school and killed it. Did an unbelievable job there. Then he gets hired at Michigan, and he obviously helped them go to a national championship. So he knows what he's doing. He's at Charlotte. We've got a lot of familiar faces there with Dre Bly and Tim Cross and Tim Brewster, and Ty Greenwood was an analyst for us here. They're all on the staff. Dante Balfour and Jaquarius Conley and Justin Olson are on the team. Their roster is built with a lot of transfers. They got 56 transfers on the team, 36 of them new, and they have 23 Power 4 conference transfers in their 2 deep. They're much improved on defense. They had a lot of guys out for the James Madison game. I think 8 starters that we'll expect to see this weekend. And really proud of Dante. He had an interception the other night in the ball game. He is a preseason all-conference pick. He went to their media day to represent them. So really, really proud of those guys. Questions?
How does the office change? Now, how, will it change or will it not change with the conference?
Well, it'll change some. The thing that, and let me make sure that I say this so everybody can understand it. If you can't run the ball and you had a great day passing, it is really hard to fix that. Because if you're soft, you're soft. And you can't just say, okay, let's run the ball better. If you didn't throw the ball as well as you need to, some of it's scheme, some of it's who you targeted, some of it will be game plan, but you can fix a passing game a lot better. If you think about Connor, he was the player of the year, Gatorade player of the year in Alabama. He was 25-2. He won 2 state championships. He's valedictorian of the high school. He's one of the leading guys on our leadership committee. These kids absolutely love him. He's one of the top students in our business school. I've never seen a better kid that tries any harder. His mom called to get Max's number because they wanted to call him, and they're just unbelievable how good these people are. They're just a wonderful family. So all of us need to rally around Connor and step up because he's really good. He had a performance better than Drake and Sam 2 years ago in the spring game, the first year he was here. And I'm out there saying, wow. And then he had a great fourth quarter against Campbell. So he's got it. It's there. We've got to help him and make sure that we figure out what he does best and let him do that. And obviously, everybody's going to stack the box to stop 28. So everything you do is to counteract that. So that's what we will continue to do. And thank goodness, it's been a competitive battle. So we've been working on Connor's stuff for spring and fall. So we're not that far off.
That's my ask one follow-up. Who's your number 3 quarterback behind?
It would be Mike Merdinger. He's the freshman.
Mack, when you say this is the most physical team you've had in some time, I understand a lot of that is Omarion when you look at the league and how he plays, but how much of that do you see as a product of this offensive line? And, you know, what about them has you saying they're physical and tough?
Yeah, and let me clarify too, Adam. Most physical means both sides of the ball. We are stopping the run on defense in an opening game against a very physical, run-oriented offense with a quarterback that was up for the Heisman, second runner-up to the Heisman in his level at New Hampshire. And they think he's really good. Because I talked to them after the game, and they said, Coach, we think this guy's a great player. And he got better as the game went on. So when I'm saying physical, these 2 lines of scrimmage have battled so hard through spring and fall that it's made us better. And obviously we want to get Darwin Barlow in the game more. There was a game the other night where Omarion was going to win the game on offense, and he's not a fumbler. So you didn't want to trust the new guy coming in. We've told Darwin that. He needed to play the other night. He'll get to play. It's there. We're moving forward. But that just wasn't the time to put him in. So I just like the fact that we can line up and be physical and run the ball when we want to run it. And in the past, we've had great backs, and we've had great running stats at times when you have the Michael Carters and the Javonte Williams. But right now, this offensive line is such that we feel like they're going to get better and better and better because they even got better during the ball game. And we had to get home to watch it, but the matchups were really favorable in a lot of the game for us. So we were proud of the Howard Sampsons, who's never started a game. Trey Green never started a game. I mean, and those kids played their guts out. Banfield, can you imagine a freshman who had a sore ankle? And he played his guts out. I mean, it was so fun to watch them. And then I talked to Trey Green yesterday at lunch, and I said, okay, are you a one-day wonder? are you going to show up this week, or am I going to have to worry that he's, and he never speaks either. He just smiles at 6'8", 360. And there were two other, in fact, Willie came up and Austin Blasky, who are the two personalities in that group, came up because Banfield never speaks. I mean, he talks less than Omarion, if you can believe that. So if you all interview Banfield, that'll be his verbiage as you get that. And he's really smart. He's a great kid, and he's tough as nails, but he's not going to speak. So I said to Blasky and Willie, I said, you think Big Trey was standing there? And I said, you think Big Trey will show up this week, or is he had his game now, so he's through? And Trey goes, I'll be good. And, just laughing, and they're saying, he'll show up. He'll show up. So it'll be fun to watch those guys. They've got great personalities.
That Connor has already gone through preparing as a starter, as he did in the bowl game last year.
Yes.
Kind of a blessing in disguise that he had that opportunity. So now this isn't new for him. He's had 2 months to kind of marinate in that and learn about that experience.
Yeah, he just got to get confidence and go. It's his. It's his. And when you're not the guy, it's hard to feel like you're the guy. And he's been told, you got it. So, and the team's been told, let's rally around your new quarterback and let's go. And let's make this work. And like I said, he's really good. So it's time for him to go have fun and play good.
And on top of that, not taking away anything from your next three opponents at all, not going there with this at all, but is it helping schedule that he's got 3 games before you jump into the ACC?
One thing that we're going to do that you all don't do very well, starting with Art, and Art does just about everything well, but we are not looking at opponents anymore. You look at Abilene Christian, Texas Tech. You look at South Carolina and Old Dominion.
But just to clarify, I didn't think like that.
I know, but just to clarify, we're playing to a standard that North Carolina needs to play to, because we've won some games we shouldn't have won around here, and we've lost some games we should have won around here. So we're playing to a standard to be the best we can be, and we're not talking about who we play for the rest of the year. We are playing to a standard, and we have told those kids they better get after it. We better have the best practice we've ever had tomorrow, because that's really important, because everybody going to brag on them this week. And we haven't done that well. So we're through. We are playing to a standard, period. And we don't care who's on the other side.
One thing you mentioned earlier was finding a identity or reestablishing an identity of offense. How different is that conversation from the offseason when you're kind of looking at, who you bring in new pieces versus having played the game, having really seen it in real time? How different is that process of finding that identity after you've kind of seen it in real time?
We constantly talk about identity. We are going to be a physical running football team with play action. That hadn't changed. And we're going to be a team that stops the run. We're really aggressive on defense, and got to tackle better. So there's things that we need to tweak, but we're still who we were, and we want to change games with special teams. We haven't done that around here. And we won 3 of the 4 special teams on Saturday. So that was really important to us to do that against a well-coached team that's used to winning on the road. So that's who we are, and we're not going to change that. Now, the part that we've got to do is we've got to figure out how do you create more explosives in the passing game. And that's what we've got to do. We've got to tackle better at safety. Those guys are so aggressive, and they came downhill, and they were knocking people out, but we missed some tackles. So we've got to tackle better. But really, really proud of all those guys. Travis Shaw, out of the 55 plays, played 22, and he played great. Javari Ritzie played great. Des Evans played great. We're just... those guys now are starting to play a huge addition to our team with Josh Harris. I mean, he's a big body inside that's hard to move and made plays. And Will Hardy came out really early. It's funny when you start playing them by series. Dre Boykins didn't play as much because the 2 series he was in, it was 3 and outs. So we got to look at plays instead of series. But Jakeem and Stick are like missiles. I mean, they will run and knock you out. Now, we got to slow them down a little bit and tackle better in some cases, but they will knock you out. I guess when you get named Stick, it's for a reason. It's not for being soft.
Mac, one more thing on that Max Johnson
Well,
You know that before you left Minneapolis, or was that once you got back?
I knew it after the press conference. And what we've done, we had, when Octavius Barnes got hurt here in a bowl game in Fort Lauderdale, played Arkansas, and he ruined his knee, and media got it on the sidelines, and they reported it. His mother was at home, and she was delirious, and should have been, and screamed and cried. So at that point, many, many years ago, we said, okay, nobody is going to have any information on that sideline until the doctors get them inside and they check them and they get in touch with the parents, whether they're in the stands or whether they're at home, because parents do not need to hear about an injury to their sons when everybody else hears. So I was actually walking after I talked to the media. I was walking back to the locker room and I saw Jake, and I could tell he wasn't doing great, but I said, "You talked to your brother?" And he said, "Yeah, we're good." And then the doctor came in, and I said, "Tell me, how's Max?" And then he said, "Do you want me to tell you?" And I said, "Yes." And that's when he told me, with Jake standing there, Jake's so nice, he said, "I knew it, I just didn't think I should be the one to tell you." So at that time I knew it, and then I got in touch with Brad immediately, and we didn't tell the team till we told you all. What we try to do, because the family didn't want it out. They didn't want people talking about it. They had a lot of family members they needed to contact and talk to before it got out. So that's why we're slow. And then we actually teamworks our players and staff to tell them, because none of them knew. We didn't tell our players. We teamworks them 5 minutes before we tell you, just so they'll all know. So that's the process we go through. And it's all about parents. That's the only thing we're worried about, is the young man and the parents at that point.
Mac, from what little we saw of training camp, and also what we heard, it seemed like Connor had some trouble with interceptions, like those may have been a problem during the preseason for him. Was that one of the issues?
No, it really wasn't. I think the reason we went with Max is experience. We thought about hostile environment on the road, Big Ten team. Max had played in so many SEC stadiums that would be easier for him to do that because of Connor's lack of experience. Connor actually had 2 great days of practice game week last week. I was so impressed when I walked out. I said, God, that looks so good. So I felt good, and then he makes the play to win the game. I mean, that is a zone read pass. It's a run-pass option, and he actually read it, and then he comes out, and as the corner's coming up, he turns and throws it over his head. So it is an unbelievable play to win a game that most people can't, and going to his left. So it's all there. I'm a Connor guy. I'm so excited about watching him play Saturday because I think he's going to be really good, and I can't wait. And Jacoby's really good. He came down to the 10 days before the game with Drake. We just got to get him ready to go now. And kind of like Max and Connor, Chip, we got to get Jacoby his stuff and got to get Connor his stuff so we're ready to go. And Chip said that when we kicked field goal with 1:44 left, I mean, we were being conservative, but we didn't want to put ourselves in a position to turn the ball over or do something that we hadn't done enough with a guy coming off the bench when we felt like we were going to win the game.
Do you add anything with Michael Merdinger now that he's one play away from being QB2?
You do. He's we have worked him every day in practice as well. Chip and Clyde Christensen has been a blessing with this new rule. It's been a blessing. And Chip's been able to walk around and see everything. Chip had to coach offensive line when Randy got sick. So when you think about all the things that we've had to juggle already this season, but Merdinger gets some every day. So he is in touch, he knows the offense, and he'll get a little bit more now. But Connor will get the blue team reps, and Jacoby now will get all the white team reps, and we'll mix Merdinger in some.
change the topic quickly. How did the communication with the earpieces on both sides?
I'm sorry, I meant that. I saw the start of the Western Kentucky-Alabama game. Western Kentucky didn't have good communication, so that meant Alabama couldn't have it. They cut it off for the other team. And then I saw where Mike Norvell said in the second half of the Georgia Tech-Florida State game, they had really bad problems with the communication. Ours went great, but it reminded me to tell the coaches yesterday, be ready not to have it. I mean, you got to go back like it was, because if you don't have it, you don't have it. So, and you may not have it for the whole game.
Because
So,
of some of those other issues, you kind of have to, I know you're limited with practice time, but you have to at least spend a little bit of time when the guy's having to go through sudden change if they don't have it.
yes, and more than anything else, we still signal. So the fact that we all thought this would do away with our signaling issue, stealing signals, it doesn't. You still have signal to receivers anyway. So now you've just got your signaling for everybody. So you'll signal and talk to the quarterback in practice every day. So you've also got, with COVID, we had to have somebody ready to call plays or defenses if the play caller was sick and couldn't be in there. So we have to do that. So every other day, we have somebody calling defenses and somebody calling offenses that are different than the normal play caller and the defensive guy.
How do you feel about 2 minutes timeout?
I love the 2 minutes. It gives you, I'm a guy for you that talk about time management. I'm gonna keep every one of them. I don't ever want to use a timeout until we have to. We had 3 in our pocket the other night, and the question you get down to, when they're at the 50 and there's 34 seconds left and they've got 1, there's not enough time for us to still use it, so I'm gonna put pressure back on them and not use ours. And then we used it to delay the kick before the kick. But now the 2-minute offense gives you another timeout, so you only got 4 at the end of a ball game. But if you've got a minute 5 seconds left and 3 timeouts, that's forever. And I'd rather have them at the end than use them with 4 minutes left.
That's a Roy Williams tactic.
Is it?
Very famous.
Matt, were you close to playing Connor even before the injury? Max said, I think, just 10 yards passing.
No, we felt like that we needed to help him more and help the offense more. We felt like they played too uptight the first half. And they just, everything was tight. And we started tempo, and we started turning them loose and having more personality. We had a little speed sweep to Nate McCullum, a screen to the tight end. So we did a lot better job in the third quarter of loosening things up. And then we thought we were there, and we dominated the third quarter. And then when Connor came in, you've got now Chip and the offensive staff, Chip and Connor, have to get on the same page, because when you're calling plays, you got to trust the quarterback. That's what it is. You got to trust. We've told every one of these kids, if we don't trust you, we're not going to put you in the game, because winning is so important. And if you haven't proven to us on video that you're the guy that's better than the one we've got out there, we can't put you in. And that's what's got to happen this week, is we've got to get the offensive staff, the offensive players, and Connor all confident and on the same page. Anything else?
We're good?
Mac, have you ever give any consideration to the bib coaching wardrobe before? Guns out, sun's out, guns out?
No.
Thank you, Coach.
This is, it's a short set.
Yeah.
Say the short question.
Thank you.